You're watching Wanted with me, Jonathan. On the 25th of February, News 9 was the first to report on a shooting having taken place outside a PG in Marathahalli. Now, some shocking details have emerged in the case. The shooter had left a 17-page death note at the crime scene, and News 9 managed to access exclusive details from it. So, why did the shooter do it? Take a look to find out more. News 9 was the first to report on an incident where a woman was shot outside a PG in Marathahalli. Residents of Marathahalli were in for a real shock on the evening of 25th of February. The mood was that of chaos, with residents rushing out of their houses to see what happened. Commuters were in panic, not realizing if they should stay on their bikes or leave them and run for their life. For all they know, it could have been a terror attack. But moments later, they realized that this was a murder attempt, although a gruesome one. Initially, no one seemed to have a clue of what had transpired, but everyone rushed to the spot. A woman was shot by an unidentified man, but he escaped before people realized what happened. The cops were immediately alerted about the situation and they rushed to the spot. By the time the cops arrived, the victim had been shifted to the hospital. But the mood was very clear. The residents, business owners, and commuters in the region had a look of shock and disbelief on their faces. None of them had witnessed anything like that ever before and could not believe that someone had just used a gun. The worrying part was that the shooter had managed to flee from the spot and could pose a major danger of others. The cops realized the magnitude of the situation and cordoned off the area. They immediately started searching for clues at the spot. The cops found a gun at the spot, and this was the same gun that was used by the assailant. The shooter had thrown the gun after he had shot the woman. The forensic team checked the gun, and on preliminary investigation, they found that the gun was a country make. They also found one more piece of evidence which was going to help them find out who the killer was. That was a 17-page note that the man had left behind. News 9 has exclusive access to this note. This note helped the cops find more details about the case. But before we tell you what the notes contained and how it helped the cops, let us tell you who the main characters are in this episode. This is Shubhashri Priyadarshini. She was the woman shot in front of her PG. The cops visited the hospital while she was still being treated. The doctors had found that the bullet had entered the woman's body through her stomach and had left through her back. Shubhashri was declared out of danger the very same day. Relieved by this, the cops got cracking and fastened their investigation. The first step in that direction was analyzing the CCTV footage from the spot. Cops had access to CCTV footages from the crime scene and they had their first clue.
At around 6 p.m. the Marathahalli police station limits, we have registered a case of attempt to murder. Basically, a lady by name Shubhashri Priyadarshini, aged about 25 years, hailing from Orissa, was staying in a PG located in Munnekolala village, Manjunatha layout. Yesterday evening, when she was returning from work, a person known to her by name one Amarendra Pattanayak, he has shot her using a 7.65 mm caliber country-made weapon. He has shot her once and absconded from the spot. And while absconding, he has thrown the pistol then and there at the spot. He has also left behind a 17-page handwritten note at the spot.
The cops had all the details and the gun that the man had used. But the cops had to nab the accused to get more details and to ensure a dangerous criminal capable of such a heinous crime was not at large. The cops looked for him. They started tracing his phone. They had found the man's location near the outer ring road. They triangulated the signal and went to the spot. But they were shocked to find that the man was unconscious. They had even found blood on his body. They realized that the man had tried to commit suicide. He was still breathing, so the cops shifted him to a private hospital.
Immediately, she was shifted from the spot to the private hospital where she underwent treatment, and now she's doing much better. The bullet has hit her on the stomach and exited in her back, but otherwise she's doing fine. Based on this, we had taken up a case in Marathahalli, and investigation was continued. We had formed two teams to nab the accused, and today morning at around 2:30 near Marathahalli Bridge on the outer ring road, Amrendra Patnaik was found in a very unconscious state, as if he's been hit by a vehicle in an accident. He was shifted immediately to the hospital. His condition is critical. He's undergoing treatment. Preliminary reports by the doctor indicate that there are self-inflicted wounds to the neck, and there are accident-related trauma to the chest and the torso.
The man was identified as Amarendra Patnaik, aka Bobby. But why did Bobby try to commit suicide after shooting at Shubhashri? This has left the cops puzzled. There was one more crucial bit of evidence that they found, and that proved to be a big assistance for the cops to make inroads into the case. And that was a diary. What did the diary contain? Yes, a diary found at the crime scene contained details of the reason behind the murder attempt. The 17-page note provided a detailed account of the events that led to the murder.
In the handwritten note that he has left behind at the spot, there is the last page reads like a death note, and his last wishes are also mentioned. Looking at all these things, prima facie, it looks like a case of where he has shot her and then tried to commit suicide. He has also mentioned other facts which we are trying to verify. He has also mentioned the motive why he did it. We just need to verify certain facts. His parents are, his relatives are coming on the way. After verifying certain facts, we'll be able to tell certain exactly what has happened.
According to the details of the book, Amarendra and Shubhashri had been in love in the past. Meanwhile, Amarendra, who was slated to get married to another woman, had even been engaged to the man in a ceremony on February 19th. But according to the diary, Shubhashri, the jilted lover, had sent her pictures with Amarendra to his fiancée. This had led to Amarendra's marriage being called off. When Amarendra found out about it, he was enraged and plotted to kill her and commit suicide.
Accused is one Amrendra Patnaik alias Babi. He hails from Orissa. His village is about 90 kilometers from Orissa. He's a software engineer by profession. He was working in Hyderabad in a private company. This is the preliminary information that we have.
While the 17-page helped the cops get more details about the case, they have refrained from giving us all the details given the case is still under investigation. But News9 has exclusive access to the last 3 pages of the note. This is what the note says. From the childhood, I always wanted to be a good human without any stain. From the school days till now, they hadn't complained about single fight or incident which I had. Everyone was talking about me, juniors were idolizing me. People used to give examples how good I am. I have fulfilled all the wishes which my parents had. Good job, salary more than 15 lakh, constructed house with modern interior, helped the poor financially, sponsored education for few which includes both who spoiled my life. Everything was going good both professionally and personally. Gym, office, study, book reading, writing stories and poems, giving online training to my students, etc. Traveling all the temples till now, completed 6 Jyotirlingas, Shiva temples, Tanjore, Raman Maharishi ashram, what not. Enjoyed my life, wanted to cover all the Jyotirlinga and all the famous temples, masjids, church, Gurudwara. All of a sudden these two came to my life. Previously I have helped them a number of times. Amarendra also mentions in his letter that he had realized Shubhashri was cheating him. Amarendra had suspected that his alleged girlfriend was cheating on him and using him for money. This is what he said in the next part of his letter. I have helped them a number of times, either for their insurance or cooking gas bill, everything. As people say, some of the most poisonous people come disguised as friends and family. She came to my life, looted me, tortured me by her emotions, raped me whenever required, and finally left me with false complaints. My reputation is lost. People started talking behind my back and in front of me. Had my mother been alive, then I couldn't have faced such problems. I was alone. My uncles and aunties tried their hand, and finally I moved on, and my marriage date was fixed on 26 February and ring ceremony date was fixed February 14th. I thought God was doing everything to me and preparing for marriage. Yes, the man reportedly shot his alleged ex-girlfriend that he wanted to leave for his fiancée. But Shubhashri allegedly forwarded pictures of him and her to his fiancée and got the ceremony cancelled and got the relationship called off. All of a sudden we came to know my would-be's family. I have all the incidents which I had in my life. All our photos, 9 which we both had, have been shared with my would-be's family, who had given. It was with me and in a phone where we were staying, that also shared, which police station had complaints, that one also shared, and whatnot. I begged her my life and asked her multiple times to discuss once about why she and her family are doing this. But the kind of slangs, scolding and threatening from them I received, that can't be bearable. I tried to reach her on February 14th, but unfortunately, she was enjoying February 14th, 15th and 16th with her now boyfriend, which was fine for me. But when she threatened me to do the same kind of plan whenever I'll go for marriage, then I decided to take this step and contacted Ibrahim through internet to get the machine. It cost me handsome, but I didn't have any option left. I did this mistake and requesting others not to make this kind of step. Rather, consult your parents, talk to friends whom you really trust. Don't stay alone. Trust on God, believe on karma. Don't let people to destroy your life. Be sensible. Help those who need your help. From last 10 days, I am visiting all temples, churches, masjids and on Gurudwara in Amirpet, Hyderabad, and found God is one in different forms. So my Indian love and respect all religions. Bye. At first, the story was not clear what exactly happened that evening and why. This continued to puzzle the cops, but it was the 17-page note that helped the cops make a case out of it. It was found that the man in question, Amarendra Patnaik, was a native of Odisha. After shooting at Shubhashri outside a PG accommodation using a country-made pistol on Tuesday, Amarendra tried to self-inflict injuries on his neck and had several accident-related injuries as well. He was admitted to Sakra Hospital and continues to remain in a critical condition at the time of filing this report. Another chilling detail emerged during the course of investigation. A misfire of the pistol used by the accused Amarendra Patnaik resulted in Shubhashri's life being saved. Yes, according to the preliminary investigation, Patnaik had managed to procure the gun and ammunition from Hyderabad. On the day of the incident, Amarendra had fired at Shubhashri, which resulted in the bullet penetrating her stomach and exiting. However, when Patnaik tried to fire another round, the gun jammed, resulting in her life being saved. A panicked Patnaik fled from the spot after throwing away the gun. The gun was said to contain 4 more live bullets. There was, however, an improvement in Shubhashri's health, and the police was able to record a statement. The statement had presented a very different angle to the case. So what did Shubhashri say in a statement? According to Shubhashri, Amarendra Patnaik was forcing her to get into a relationship for a very long time. Shubhashri had been long facing torture at the hands of Amarendra, and tired of this, she decided to shift to Bengaluru. Shubhashri had shifted to Bengaluru a couple of years ago in order to avoid Amarendra and was living in a PG accommodation. But just when she thought she had got rid of Amarendra, her nightmares were back to haunt her. Her Amarendra ended up following Shubhashri to Bengaluru as well. Upon knowing that Shubhashri was in Bengaluru, Amarendra decided to shift to the city in a bid to prove his love for her. After shifting to Bengaluru, Amarendra joined a private firm while he continued to keep a watch on Shubhashri. Not just that, he even called her several times, persuading her to speak to him and meet him alone. Sometimes he even went on a rant and called her up several times in a day, requesting her to marry him. This was becoming a daily affair and the harassment was becoming unbearable for Shubhashri. Similarly, he called her up on the 25th of February at around 5:30 p.m. He kept calling her and persuading her to meet him. He then decided to wait for her in front of her PG. When she finally arrived, he confronted her, only to be turned down again. Shubhashri declined to speak to him and it irked Amarendra. He tried to reason with her, but she was adamant that she was not interested and wanted him to leave her alone. But he clearly had come with a backup plan, and that was to put an end to Shubhashri and himself if she didn't budge. As soon as she declined to speak to him, he took out the country-made gun that he had brought along and fired at her. He shot her in the stomach and the bullet pierced through her body, exiting from the back. Amarendra had made up his mind to murder her and was to fire more rounds of ammunition at her, but fortunately for Shubhashri, his gun jammed and he couldn't fire more rounds at her. Before he could figure out what had happened, Shubhashri's deafening screams and the gunshot attracted a lot of attention. This set panic as far as Amarendra was concerned, and he decided to flee the spot and in the process drop the gun at the crime spot. This was the version narrated by Shubhashri, who is now in a much better condition. Based on this, cops have registered an FIR against the main accused, Amarendra Patnaik. The FIR has been registered by the Marathahalli police based on the victim Shubhashri Priyadarshini's statement. The case filed was under Section 307, 354D and also under the Indian Arms Act. Meanwhile, Amarendra is still critical, and as per the doctors, his chances of survival are said to be slim. With two contrasting versions of the story, the cops are now left with a lot of investigation and inquiries pending. What is the reality behind the case? Well, News 9 will bring you all the latest updates to the case as and when they happen. Shiva Prasad for News 9, Bengaluru.